And then for those of you who just joined, we're going to wait probably about 2 minutes. We'll start at 3 minutes after the top of the hour. We're just going to give it 1 more minute and then we'll get started. I see a couple more people joining. Seems like every meeting goes 2 or 3 minutes over. I think hopefully we'll get you guys out a couple minutes before 3. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get started. We're going to record the session, just for people who missed it, and so we can share it later. And then just so you're aware, we've got a couple of people on from Cisco. Amber, Sean, and Andrew. So if you have any questions regarding Cisco Meraki, feel free to put those questions in the chat. I'm also joined by Jason Allen. I'm going to have him introduce himself in just a second. But just know that if you have questions about our managed services that are in scope of this conversation or beyond the scope of this conversation, again, feel free to put those in chat. A little bit of my time in radio, I came to learn that if you have the question, it's probably somebody else that has the same question. So, don't hesitate. Feel free to ask. But we'll go ahead and get this started. Jason, I'm going to have you co-present a couple of slides later. If you could maybe introduce yourself and then I'll start through the process.
Absolutely. Thanks, KJ. Hi, everyone. I'm Jason Allen. I'm the principal for hybrid cloud services with a focus on managed services here at CDW Canada nationally. I've been in the managed services business for a long time and worked through a lot of managed services solutions. So I'm looking forward to present a few slides with KJ and specifically focused around Cisco and Meraki. So thank you.
Oh, thanks, Jason. Yeah, and I like having Jason on the call. He's not only can authoritatively answer questions that I can't answer, it also, it just shows you there's more than just one person here that can assist you. So KJ Burke, Principal Technology Strategist for Hybrid Cloud, and really my role is helping CDW Canada, build that technical roadmap and really help provide some guidance around like really what's important, how can we help our customers move forward, talk to our customers, better understand what our customers' needs are, talk to our sales team, talk to our partners like Cisco, understand, where they're going and how they're innovating, and then sort of, bring that into a plan to really help our customers. And so in this case, really what we're focusing around is Cisco Meraki and building up networking as a service for our customers. And we'll kind of talk about a couple of reasons why, as we go through the presentation. But just more and more, as a customer, your expectations are to consume things that are not necessarily, driving differentiating business value for you. And so again, our managed services is really trying to ease that for our customers. So going through, the agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about CDW Canada. Talk about the Cisco services that we focus in on, the Cisco Meraki portfolio. For those of you that are, it may be a little bit of a retread if you're very familiar with Cisco Meraki. For those of you who aren't aware of what the product line is and how it's expanded over the last couple of years, there'll be some new information there for you. And then talk about the managed services and the overview there. Jason's going to help me out with that. He's going to keep me honest. And then we're going to talk about networking as a service and kind of how that breaks down and why we think that's relevant for our customers and why we think that's important for you guys to take a look at. Again, so feel free if you have any questions. We've got the Cisco folks on the line. Jason can help answer questions. If there's a question for me specifically, Cassandra and the team can bring it up. So, if you're a CDW customer, you have probably seen this slide or a version of this slide. If you've heard me talk about this slide, I talk about this in a different way. It isn't so much to me about the growth and the investment that CDW has done and the way that they've changed their approach to helping customers get the equipment that they need when they need it and the licensing. It really is that the shift in the types of organizations that CDW is investing in. And so with Kelway in the UK and then Scalar in Canada here, IGNW and Sirius and Amplified IT and Focal Point, more and more it's CDW understands that our customers need help around the services. It's not just delivering technology. It's also helping integrate that technology and build bridges between the different types of technologies. And so I really show this just to say that we as an organization are investing where we feel our customers need help, and that is the services to implement, the services to operate, and the services to architect the different technologies across the board. So some of the technology trends that we're seeing, obviously cybersecurity is more and more important. We're seeing a lot of conversation around ransomware, and in some ways, that conversation around ransomware is again where we start talking about as a service. How can you take advantage of other teams, broader teams? I'll talk a little bit about it as we go through, but adding people to your bench, even in a virtual way, to become an extension of your team to help you take care of cybersecurity issues and cybersecurity risks and make sure your patching is taken care of. How do you support these anywhere operations, and how do you grow, new locations? How do you plan for, deploying technologies like SD-WAN, which will, get you back time at the end of the day? How do you support the digital transformation that your organization is really relying on you to help support? And then tying in the cloud and cloud management and thinking digitally first. And so these are some of the trends that we're seeing, across North America. A lot of the data for this sort of comes out of the US, but I think we're seeing these technology trends really start to take root in Canada now as well. And if you want, again, feel free to reach out, whether it's our marketing team, go through your account manager. Happy to supply you, some of the source information for any of these. Happy to break down and talk to you. We have a host of solutions architects that can help sort of break down, where the industry is going, how we can help, and then also, other third-party partners that can help assist drive these forward. So, our approach really at the end of the day comes to, I'm going to start with the last step, which is really the relationship. Whether it's our customer experience advocates in our managed services practice, or with like our Microsoft practice and expanding into some of our other parts of our organization. We fundamentally want to make sure that you are having a good experience with the technology that you're investing in, with the way that you are changing your business processes to help best use those technologies, and helping make sure that your team is skilled up and ready to take on those new technologies. And so we want to help engage early, help understand your goals, help understand your business drivers, discover and work through that discovery process with you, assess where necessary. You help architect those solutions, design the fundamental technologies and the bills of material and the statements of work to help deliver those solutions. And again, then we want to make sure that we're bringing you value, so that when you go to set new goals for a new project, that we're right there with you. So that's just kind of how, how I like to approach the customers that I'm working with. That's where Jason and the managed services team are really focused, is that long-term relationship and that customer experience and all of the things and all the steps that go towards building that. For those of you who aren't aware, we have a Canadian focus. We have global scale. So for organizations that are operating internationally, we have the ability, to work with you and support those. We've got the ability to pull in some of those, very focused expertise areas, like with our digital velocity solutions in the US. We help bring some of that expertise to Canada, where it's harder to find, application transformation expertise in that. But while we have this global scale, there are areas within Canada that we focus, and there's a lot of resources that are available to you as a customer. So I always like to talk about our solutions architects. I always like to talk about the fact that we have, technical account managers that will assign to specific larger, not necessarily larger organizations, but really where we're focused in with a customer, and we're touching multiple different spheres of technology, like security and public cloud and traditional data center. We like to invest in our customers, and then for all of our customers, we have a large number of solutions architects that really can provide an independent view of technology. So we have opinions about technology. We are very opinionated in this instance, talking about Cisco and what Meraki brings from a simplicity perspective. But we're independent in the sense that, we can compare different technologies and work with you to take your business goals and objectives and apply those to those technologies and help you, choose the best solution for you. But we do have opinions, and we are opinionated about, who we spend time with and who we work with to develop solutions, and where we scale up our teams. And so with that, 90 plus solutions architects resources, those are experts in whether it's networking or whether it's in, traditional enterprise data center and hybrid infrastructure, whether that's cloud native services or security services or risk advisory services. We also, it's relevant in this conversation, we have two independent operation centers. We have one in Calgary and one in Toronto, and so those are our staffed locations, 24/7, where we have visibility onto the managed services that we're providing for our customers. And so, even through the pandemic, our knock and sock was an area where, we had people remote in more often, but we still had people in the room ready to answer the phone, for all of our managed services customers. And so one of the key differentiators, I think, here is those locations are in Canada. So if you have concerns around, who's touching the data, who's got access to the systems, who's got visibility into some of the metadata around that, these are fully supported and staffed within Canada. So I think that's it's a bit of a differentiation. We don't have external to Canada resources pulled into our managed services. And then just to touch on again, sort of that pedigree, specifically around the Cisco side of things. We have a host of solutions architects and pre-sales resources that are available to help scope, design, architect, help you avoid some of those pitfalls that come early in projects where maybe we didn't align the technologies as closely to the business goals and objectives as we could have. And then from a delivery perspective, we have delivery expertise on the bench to help deploy these services and the solutions, and then operate them, as part of our managed services teams. And the way that we engage around that is really, focusing on assessments. We have, wireless site surveys we can do for customers, where we can map the signal strength that you would get, and run scenarios on where access points could be placed in order to better build out, that floor layout, and make sure that you get the coverage with the optimized number of devices. help you architect and design your LAN, your WAN, all the devices that are there. We'll talk a little bit about, some of the extended Meraki services around, sensors and SD-WAN and some of the insights and things like that. But what we find is that, where necessary, assessing what's required, building up and aligning with those business use cases, architecting solutions that are going to deliver against that, then implementing those solutions, alongside of our customers, bringing in, third-party expertise where we need to. Maybe you've got back-end Oracle systems or SAP systems, and there's some relevant complications, or there's some increased levels of complexity. That's where, again, we have a third party consultants we can bring in for those point parts of the solution, but then still build the entire solution as one implementation for you as the customer. And then from a managed services perspective, operate that. So helping deploy it, or knowing that we're setting up a managed services at the end of this, we can build towards that, do the handoff and do that cross training internally, not just with you as the customer, but also with our managed services team. But then also, if we are in an implementation, and you, the customer, would like to have that operated, then there's things we can do to streamline that and leverage that network operations center, that security operations center, for the 24/7, 365 visibility into those services. So again, if you have any questions about this, pop them into chat. Happy to discuss. Regarding Cisco services, there's a lot of areas that we cover. And so specifically today, we're talking about, Meraki and managed services. And I really like the Meraki portfolio. I use it at home. I find, actually helped me find a cable that was bad in my house, which was really handy because I just couldn't figure out why this one run wasn't working. But we cover a lot more ground than just Meraki. And so, part of what I try to do when I have an opportunity to speak to customers like yourselves is to just to make sure that you're aware of that. So, again, through the assessment, the architecting, implementation, and operating, there's a lot of different areas, whether it's MFA and Duo and Umbrella, whether we're talking about, full stack observability and helping our customers with that. And one thing around that to be aware of is, as equipment is becoming available, we are building up a Cisco implementation lab, and we'll be able to help you, go through POCs and do lab development of potential solutions. So just know that, again, you'll see there's a lot of integration that we have with Cisco. There's a lot of communication that goes on between the teams. So as that builds up, we'll let you know, and just know that that's something that's coming. But really, we try to work with Cisco across the spectrum of different services and solutions. So here's a good sort of outline there. And then regarding our expertise around that, advanced consulting, we're working with our customers to help them digitally transform, whether that's software-defined networking to support transformation projects, whether that's automation and orchestration, whether that's leveraging managed services to deliver things as a service, SD-WAN and cutting the cord with MPLS links, or building in cellular backups, so that your retail or your point of sale, or your the edge networking still has connectivity back to your infrastructure. Those are all areas that we're helping with consulting, focusing on the customer experience. So again, we have our managed services team focused on, how is that operating, working with our customers to make sure that we continue to grow and provide more value, and make sure that your experience is a positive one, and you're getting out of the managed services relationship what you expect, and then some. And then, our engineering, we've got a bunch of expertise around the various specializations within Cisco. And then we have access to escalate, within the Cisco organization. We also have, a lot of expertise in the US that we can escalate to as well. And then we have specialty services we can bring in, again, around sort of advanced automation and that. As we talk about in this case, I've been talking about Meraki as a managed service, but really I want to start to reframe that a bit as more of a networking as a service. As we start to talk about that, a lot of our customers are focusing in on, this sort of gray area that is in the shared responsibility model. And as you are able to move services into these as a service, and move into infrastructure as a service or platforms as a service or software as a service. As you are able to take advantage of those as a service, it does remove some of your responsibility for some of the underlying infrastructure. But where things are really challenging is those handoff points, the gray area between where it is the public cloud provider or the service provider as a responsibility, and then when it's your responsibility. And a lot of times that's where our managed services can really come in and help customers fill in that gray area and be confident that that gray area is covered. And so, whether that's monitoring and device monitoring or workload monitoring, application and OS monitoring, whether that's management and patching. And so just know that as we're talking about this sort of networking as a service, what we're really trying to help do is reduce the amount of the infrastructure that you, the customer, are concerned about, and then focus on the things that you either have to focus on or that provide business value for your organization. So as part of this is better understanding this, and our managed services really help to address some of the gray area in those shared responsibility areas, where there maybe are gaps. That's where we come in, again, whether there's disaster recovery as a service, and also things like we're going to talk about today with networking as a service. So a little bit about the case for managed services. And a lot of my background comes from the customer side. I worked the majority of my career, working for an organization inside of a corporate environment, working to sell innovation. So I was with Barrett Gold for 15 years. I was with OpenText for a year and a half. And we didn't really think of it as outsourcing. We really viewed it more as outtasking. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to target parts of the work and the effort that we had to do that weren't driving value for the business directly. And then can we take those work packages and really hand them off to a trusted partner to deliver? We used to, one of the taglines I used to always use is, nobody ever got promoted because the backups happened and the tapes went to Iron Mountain. And unfortunately, in a way, it's kind of true, even though it's delivering a compliancy function that's required. It's delivering on a mandate the business has. It's part of your responsibility, as a trusted advisor to the business and an owner and a steward of their data. But it isn't driving value. And so, when we look at managed services and what's the case for managed services, I don't try to present managed services as an outsourcing of services. I really try to scope it into an outtasking of services. And can you find those things that are not necessarily business critical, or sorry, business value generating, but that are business critical, and then work with a partner. So when I look at the value of managed services, it's around taking your team, whether it's yourself, whether it's the rest of your team, whether it's a group that you manage, and then focusing them on the business value projects. So in this case, looking at a green dashboard or monitoring after hours, is that really driving additional value for the business? And if it isn't, well, then can you then redirect some of the effort that would be done there by your team to something that is going to help complete a project faster or provide more operational representation in projects and things like that, and better use your expertise to help the business. And one of the interesting things, and I think potentially people that have grown up in a sales organization don't understand, but that those of us who have spent a lot of time on the business side supporting organizations do understand, is that you are the best team to understand IT services for your organization. You are closer to the business with an IT background than anybody else. And so where we as IT professionals have a lot of value to the organization we work for is I understand what the organization needs. I understand how they function. I understand the pitfalls, and so being able to take somebody out of maybe network monitoring and focus on better running that SD-WAN implementation or better supporting an application that's being developed with their information and their knowledge of the business is really powerful. So, 24/7 visibility. I think one of the big advantages, one of the things that we add around Meraki as a managed service is really that 24/7 by 365. It's very challenging right now to find people. Um, it's hard to get people to work after hours and do that visibility. And a lot of our customers are, maybe their IT team is 9 to 5 or 8 to 6 or whatever it happens to be. But finding people that can feel fulfilled working after hours all the time is challenging. And with the rate of burnout that we're having and the difficulty in finding new people to backfill, again, having services that can provide that 24 by 7 visibility, again within Canada, I think has some value for organizations that we help support. Consuming rather than building. This is one of the big advantages and one of the drivers around public cloud is like how do we turn ourselves into consumers? How do we just treat it like a utility? How do we really just flip the switch and have it available? How do we scale quickly? If I'm gonna double the number of applications I'm gonna run in the cloud. Well, how do I do that without adding a bunch of people to the team, knowing that it's really hard to find people? So I think again, think of this consumption not only as a point in time that's today, but also growing and how you grow in the future. And then expanding your team. How do you really uh, get more tools in your toolbox? How do you increase that throughput? How do you take your team, support them by like a group like our experts, our networking and security experts, and essentially grow the team and the bandwidth they have to deliver. So just gonna 1 second. Nose started to run. Um, so specifically around Meraki. If you haven't really been looking at Meraki, over the last little bit of time here, they've started to add and grow the portfolio. I think if you rewind 3 or 4 years, it was wireless access points, and it was MX gateways, and it was some wired switches. Now it's grown into smart cameras, and you've got SD-WAN that's mature. You've got IoT sensors. You've got cellular gateways that allow for cellular backup links and things. And so we CDW Canada really felt it was time for us to invest in managed services and helping our customers not only take advantage of the power that and the flexibility that Meraki had, but was also to do that more as a service with all of the services to support it around that. And then Jason will kind of speak to that a little bit more in detail and what our managed services team does. And then in addition to the devices, there's also looking at the application health of the web applications, looking at the supportive networking services and making sure those are available, tying into things like umbrella and security solutions, and just making that part of the infrastructure and the design that you're using at your retail locations, your edge locations, etc. And then having the detailed visibility and into those analytics tools, and being able to import that data into your SIMs and that. So I think overall there are a huge number of devices that can cover the various use cases you have, whether it's across your campus or at your retail locations, edge locations, etc. But then now you've added things like smart sensors, and being able to pull in some of the data from your smart sensors, being able to bring that into the dashboard, having different visibility into that'll help drive insights. Smart cameras. I like to refer to smart cameras as essentially the Swiss Army knife of IoT devices. There are all sorts of things that you can do with smart cameras and the data that you can pull in from that. Um, but then also on the software side, everybody likes to say, well, we're investing in building up the software, well, and using software to unlock the value of the hardware. Well, that's really where, the Meraki insights and the data that you can get from that, Meraki Systems Manager, again, making that easier to do that. So again, the portfolio has expanded. Happy to engage with you. If you want to talk to your account manager, we've got again. Solutions architects can help, design and help, dig into each of these individually. The cellular gateways are pretty powerful, and so just know that the portfolio has expanded significantly as we build out and continue to invest in growing our managed service around the Meraki products. These are the solutions that are in scope and what we're looking at. So around use cases, we're seeing a lot of uptick in conversations and deployments with retail. It's easy to manage, it's easy to deploy. Getting real-time location analysis. So where you're trying to get, insights about as people move through the store, you're trying to bring those insights back. You're trying to tie those into other systems, to help improve shopper experience. Like those are the types of, business use cases that are really driving that. Again, those stores are going to be open until potentially 11 p.m. or 1 a.m. or whatever it happens to be. And so, your IT team's responsibility doesn't necessarily stop at 5 or 6 o'clock. I'm having worked in those groups. I know that's probably being pretty conservative, but again, we're seeing those use cases really for the product really drive adoption. Manufacturing, having that single pane of glass, manufacturing, and knowing that a lot of times that manufacturing plant is kind of an entity all of its own, but a lot of that really exists outside of core data center services. So having the ability to tie those services in, put those sensors there, bring in that data, support a whole marketplace of applications that can drive value there, and then having hardened devices that can be used in those environments. Education, again, education always tends to struggle with finding enough time to really accomplish all of the things that need to be done, and the investment can be difficult. So being able to accomplish things in an easy way, to have that service that helps support the deployment and the operation, but then easily being able to black hole social apps during school hours. Yeah, you can bring your phone and you can connect to the Wi-Fi, but you're not getting to TikTok for a couple hours a day, and hopefully that isn't terrible for your overall social life, but it's really good for the schools. And again, that easy growth and management is important. And also small, medium businesses. And so, again, easy to deploy means that it's just less time spent, building up and installing and maintaining and patching and all of that. And so, the combination of having a solution itself that provides a lot of value right out of the box, and then supporting that with a managed services team to do that 24/7 is pretty critical. Sorry about that. And then the teleworker gateways. Some of those were interesting. I really thought the ability to put those gateways, in your user's home, and then to be able to manage that. We actually have a Cisco Meraki home security bundle that we put together, just again because we feel that more and more your executives, maybe your legal teams, maybe your coworker services, human resources departments, they're working with data at home that is potentially very sensitive. And so again, making sure that we're approaching security, and we're approaching the way that we secure that data, protect our users, and protect the underlying systems that data is supporting, and the organization as a whole becomes more important. So anyway, so there's other ways that we've invested with Cisco around Meraki to drive solutions for our customers. So if you want to know more about that, feel free to reach out. Happy to share that as well. From a services analysis, we're here at the end of phase one with our Cisco Meraki deployment, and then just so you as customers know, that really focuses on the wired networking devices, wireless networking, the WAP, security appliances, and MX, and it's 24/7 monitoring. It's updates, but not just updates, but updates on your schedule. So we're able to put together the schedule to do those to make sure that devices are alive and healthy after the fact, so that when you come in Monday morning, you know that on Saturday night when the devices were updated, somebody was actively making sure that everything came online after the fact, and you're not discovering because accounting happened to be there an hour before the first IT person showed up and they've been spinning their wheels. And so again, devices and device monitoring management, patching, and then the role-based access control to get your team still access to those devices, and then the dashboards. Phase two, which is just getting underway, we're going to be focusing in on enabling smart cameras, which again are sort of the Swiss Army knife of smart devices. SD-WAN, and helping our customers not just deploy SD-WAN, but also put that under managed services so that it's monitored all the time. The IoT sensors and the cellular gateways to allow for redundant connectivity. It's interesting. Sometimes you think you have redundant connectivity with a landline, but then you realize that both of those telcos maybe exit the building or the complex in the same location. We actually had an energy provider that is a rural energy provider, and they had two completely different entries to the building from different providers. But what happened is a heavy snowstorm, a truck went off the road, hit a telephone pole. The telephone pole went down, and both of those providers used the same poles to bring the long run cables in. And so again, cellular backup is critical if you're looking at 24/7 operations. You need to make sure those are up. So again, Meraki can help with that. Our managed services is going to have that in scope. And then looking at additional security features. So there's other things that we can add, again, whether that's umbrella. There's other ways that we can help you get more out of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Jason. I know that's a whole bunch of stuff there. I'm going to take a drink of water, but Jason, I'll hand it over to you for just a sec.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Thanks, KJ. That's I know there's so much information there, but Cisco Meraki really is a well-designed, well-integrated suite of products. And we certainly provide, from a managed services perspective, we provide a wide range of managed services across various devices. But where we're really strong is in the Cisco space. So we manage utilizing our in-house managed services team across Calgary and Toronto, as KJ mentioned earlier. We manage, Cisco networking services for, small, mid-tier to very large global businesses. There's some customers where we're managing 1,000+ devices. So we're certainly very experienced in this space. When we're talking about Meraki specifically, some of the real value add comes when we're talking about even just designing your environment. We have we can provide, as well as the Cisco Meraki SD-WAN solution, we can provide the underlying carrier services. So we have a partner where we can, to KJ's point, provide carrier diverse services underneath your network, whether that's a traditional Cisco network or a Meraki SD-WAN solution. We're in a really great position to be able to provide those holistic outcomes that you're looking for as, customers where, let's face it, the network is everything. If your data isn't flowing between, your data center to cloud, to various other data centers or colo that you have, you really, you're in trouble. So please keep that in mind. We're not just about managing, components. We provide full stack management. So that could be, I know we're talking about Cisco Meraki here, but it could be Cisco Compute, and the various components of the stack. We can provide all the management. So if we zone in on Cisco Meraki, for example, we are monitoring when we talk about switches, when we talk about Meraki firewalls, so the MX devices, and the wireless access points, we are monitoring from a switch and firewall perspective every single port on every device. So we have visibility from a managed services perspective across the bandwidth utilization or any outages of links connected to those firewalls. Um, so hopefully that helps articulate some of the value that a managed services team provides to a business like yourselves. You want to know you on a 24 by 7 basis that your network is humming away, the data is flowing, we have your back. So if any outages occur with any of the carrier services or inter-site communications, or even internally between your wireless access points and your switching, we have full awareness of that. We're able to respond proactively in real time as those issues occur. And because we are, we obviously a very, very strong partner with Cisco, we will work with Cisco to have any faulty components replaced on your behalf as part of the managed service. If you utilize our carrier services underneath your network, we will work with that tier one telco to have those carrier services resolved. So we're able to provide those really valuable, holistic managed services for you. So you know that your network's going to be humming away. You can focus on those more strategic projects that you're working on internally, whether that's an application or services perspective. You can focus on those application delivery services and enhancing those services because we have your network covered. So we look after, we do health checks, which includes, patch levels for all your devices. We'll make sure that they're up to date. Any security notifications that come in from Cisco, we will reach out to you in real time to get those patched. So once again, any security advisories, we're on it. Backup of any devices to ensure that we have a configuration of all your devices. If a piece of equipment needs to be replaced, once that's replaced, we will restore that configuration. We ensure that we are engaged with you on usually on a quarterly basis to ensure to go through a business review, but also an architecture review. If there's any performance bottlenecks that we experience or see within your environment, we're going to help you understand how to improve and resolve those scenarios as part of those reviews. With some customers, we're doing monthly reviews, so it's really down to what you require as a customer, and we'll have that cadence with you that works with you as an important valued customer of ours. Root cause analysis, obviously, that's just as important to us as it is to you. Any ongoing issues have to be resolved. So obviously, that's from a selfish perspective as well. We want your environments humming away, so it means there's not as many issues that we need to delve into, but obviously, absolutely, that's critical to you as our customers. Um, so really, I hope that gives you a valuable lens into our managed services business. We obviously have a really strong professional services business as well that engage with many of our customers from a local Canadian perspective, but also a global perspective as well. We manage and build out customer footprints globally as well as locally. So any size customer really is our sweet spot. We do a lot in the Cisco space, and that is our personal strong and sweet spot. So any questions you have, I'm personally available, KJ is available. We're available to talk through any of your scenarios and how we can help. So hopefully that was helpful.
Oh, that was great, Jason. Yeah, and I do think, a couple of things you touched on, I think are really important there is, the customer experience, a lot of flexibility. We're talking about a very sort of, specific managed service offering, this networking as a service, but it's also the flexibility to tie in other bits and components and, other Cisco technologies, but also other technologies, period. So no, I think that's key. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Having this be sort of the first time, I think I'm going to sneeze. But having this be the first time I've kind of gone through this talk track, I wasn't sure exactly what I would need. I just want to touch on a couple things here. And then I do think I'm going to get you out of here a couple minutes early so you can, have a moment before your next meeting. But, our purpose here really is to help you treat your network as a service. As Jason mentioned, there's a lot of things that maybe your organization is trying to accomplish, but maybe doesn't have the time or doesn't have the priority. Again, that's where our managed services can help deliver that value to you, so that your organization can benefit from that. Um, really focusing on the device monitoring, the device patching, keeping things current, working on your schedule. And then, around this offering, non-Meraki devices are excluded, but we do have the ability through custom managed services to really cater this to your need. It could be, again, core Cisco enterprise data center services. This could be alternative services, like F5 or the various other things that we've got a broad set of PS and managed services available. So know that we can work with you on that. Regarding implementation, this is applicable both to, greenfield. You've got new sites and new deployments that you want to do. Also, where you've already deployed, we can help work with you to re-register and go through the process of putting that under a managed services contract. And then we really view this as, we can deploy the equipment. We can onboard, we can help set up the configuration and do that, off the get-go, or we can help manage what's existing. And then there's a, per device managed per month. So, if you're interested, we can build that up. You can see what that would cost. You've seen our approach, but we're happy to expand on that. So, if there's larger parts of your team, you want to have that conversation, just talk to your account manager. We're happy to engage. And then the last thing I wanted to do is just impress upon you, Cisco's a really important partner for CDW Canada. And just to kind of illustrate that, we go through our partner awards every year, and Cisco was our top level partner, for 2022. So this is, again, we invest in skilling up around Cisco. We invest in like this opportunity, developing managed services around the Cisco platform. But we're very positive about what Cisco brings to our customers, and we're very intentful around building teams to help deploy Cisco solutions, and then manage Cisco solutions for our customers, and then assessments that can help our customers know that things have been architected appropriately. And then conversely, CDW Canada, is partner of the year for Cisco. And so again, it's a reciprocal relationship. We're able to really work very closely with our Cisco counterparts. They're very supportive, not just of you as customers, but of us as a partner. And then we're able to really kind of, if you go back to that, drive towards that positive relationship, that positive experience, and that positive customer experience that Jason alluded to. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Again, happy to answer any questions. Happy to, we've got, like I said, we've got Cisco on the line here. So if there's anything specific that you wanted to ask, maybe there's something that we didn't touch on, but feel free to ask. And if not, very much appreciate your time. Like I said, make sure to reach out to your account managers, around this. I mentioned, Meraki Home Security Bundle as we go through in phase 2. If there's certain things that you would like to see, I love it when customers can, give me insights into what their needs are. So, again, feel free to talk to your account managers and say, yeah, we like it, but we need it to do this. And I'm happy to take that under advisement. So. Yeah, I don't see any questions in the chat, but like I said, Jason, really appreciate your time today. Amber, and Sean and Andrew, appreciate you guys being on the call today. Thanks for arranging things, Cassandra. And feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thanks, KJ. That was great.
Yeah, have a great week.